All right, welcome back to another episode of Up and Down with Sam. This is episode 8. Excited to have you. Excited for this episode. Today we got Coach Timmer back in the saddle. He's got some takes he wants to share, so we brought him back for another round. Um, we'll see
I
how it goes,
appreciate
but
that. Yeah.
yeah, made another appearance. So we got some March Madness to talk today. We got some golf to talk today. A little baseball in there, but I had to start with this. We're gonna jump right in. I gotta start with Draymond Green. Now, last week I said in a side tangent that Draymond Green was not a Hall of Famer, and boy, did I get some hate on the Instagram. People were all over me about it. Um, but I'm starting today to back up my claim here, give you some of my reasons, just for all those haters out there. So here we go. Stats, career stats. That's where we're starting. First, I'm going to frame it. When I think of Hall of Fame, you look at stats, achievements, and then like domination. Like there has to be something that elevates you, right? Okay, so if they're all here, you make it in. If two are up here and one's here, you can still make it in, right? That's how it usually works. Like if you don't get a championship, that doesn't completely rule you out, right? Okay, so we're going to start with the statistics. Career stats 8.7 points per game. Terrible. 5.4 assists per game. I'll give him that one. That's okay. 6.8 rebounds per game. I mean, like across the board, average. Role player. Not great. Okay. Now we go into NBA, all NBA selections. He had 2 NBA, all NBA selections over his career, which means he was hardly ever one of those top players, top 10, top 15. Like he was never really in that. So that speaks to the domination category that I talked about earlier. He was never one of those guys that's like he's I'm scared of him. Like, oh wow, he's got a star next to his name on the scouting report. Nope, not scared. Okay, then we look at championships. Obviously, he's got 4 championships, which is impressive. 2 of the championships, he was the third best player on the team, behind Steph and Clay. 2 of the other championships, he was the fourth best player on the team, behind Steph, Clay, and KD. So, in that sense, he was a role player. He was a role player on championship teams, right? Like, okay, so we're going to keep moving. Then we go to the eye test. Above average passer and defense, right? We can all agree on that. For a big guy, he's a decent passer or pretty good. And then he can guard all 5 positions. I'll give him that, right? But those are qualities of a role player, right? Hey, when we pass it to you, swing it. Hey, when we're on the defensive end, bend your knees, put your hand up, make a good couple plays, right? Like you don't get in the Hall of Fame for being a good role player, right? And he's never an offensive threat. I watched one of his games. I've watched many of his games over his career. I mean, I would leave him open. I wouldn't even step outside the paint if I'm guarding him, and people don't. They just let him shoot. They let him make his swing pass to Steph Curry. Oh, assist because he swung it to Steph. Like awesome. And so at the end of the day, he is a good role player. I'll give him that. He's a slightly above average role player in a perfect situation. Absolutely perfect situation. If he's on any other team with any other players, he is not even close to where he is right now. He would be like Brandon Bass from the old Celtics team.
Wow.
That's who he is. That's his player
That's
comp without Steph
that's a
Curry.
that's a tough take. That's a
So
tough take.
at the end of the day, I can tell you one thing: he's not a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. But we also just let what's his name?
Stoudemire.
Yeah, Amari
Stout.
Stoudemire into the Hall of Fame. So then again, I guess everyone can get in if you just played in the NBA. It's like, hey, if you're in the NBA, you get in the Hall of Fame. But I'm going to hand it over to Coach. I said my piece. We'll see what he thinks.
All right. Well, so a lot of good points there. We do give him credit for assists, but realistically, he's played point forward, had the ball in his hands a lot, and most of his assists come on Steph Curry jumpers.
Exactly.
It's not like he's breaking down the defense and then shuffling to the open player or something like that. He's literally standing at the top of the key and passing it to an open Curry
Hey,
for
Draymond,
most of
swing
his
it.
assists. Yeah, so it I mean, I get that point. Now, to the point of does everybody get in? So I'm going to go a little bit old school because the direct comparisons to Draymond Green are Dennis Rodman and Ben Wallace. All right. And Dennis Rodman and Ben Wallace are in the Hall of Fame. We can make the argument it doesn't make sense, but Dennis Rodman had 5 championships, right? All-star games, Draymond Green had 2 more than Dennis Rodman. And all NBA teams, they were tied. And all defensive teams, it's almost a deadlock. Draymond had 1 more. Defensive player of the year, Dennis Rodman had 2 versus 1. But this is a little bit of a separation. A statistical leader means something. And Dennis Rodman led the NBA in rebounds for 7 seasons. Draymond Green has only led the NBA in one thing in his entire career, and that was he was a steals leader.
I'm
1 year.
surprised it wasn't technical fouls.
Right. Well, he definitely leads in that. So, when you talk about direct comparison, I mean, they're pretty like identical. And when you talk about who gets into the Basketball Hall of Fame, I mean, I don't think Dennis Rodman should be in. I know I'll take heat for that, but I mean, again, great defensive player, but he had more defensive player of the years than Draymond Green. And so there you go. Then the next one is Ben Wallace. And Ben Wallace, I mean, nobody even knows who that is unless you're a Pistons fan. All right. So, I mean, Ben Wallace, same number of All-Star games. He had more All-NBA teams than Draymond Green. Speaking to your point of dominance, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had the same number of defensive teams, first teams. He was defensive player 4 times compared to 1. He was the rebound leader of the entire league twice, and he was a blocks leader. So he led the NBA in 5 statistical categories or 5 seasons. Draymond, remember, it's only steals. It's really tough. I mean, because Ben Wallace couldn't score, hardly scored layups. Dennis Rodman hardly scored layups. Draymond Green, every once in a while, throws in a layup and a 3. These offensive players that are just terrible at offense, it's really hard to see him in the Hall of Fame. But at the same time, if they're letting Dennis Rodman and Ben Wallace in, I think it's a lot closer argument than what people think. So it goes to your point of Amari Stoudemire making the Hall of Fame. I mean, if he's in, do you keep Draymond out?
Talk about
I don't
a
know.
role player.
Yeah. I mean, Amari Stoudemire probably had 3 very good seasons. And then after that, he was average. So it's really hard for me. The last thing I'll say is Ben Wallace and Dennis Rodman are in the top 50 all-time NBA rebound leaders. Draymond Green is not in the top 50 of any category career, and he's played the most seasons of those 3. So
no dominance.
No dominance. I mean, sure, I'm sure if you isolated assists by forwards or something like that, he might squeeze into the top 50, but
you need like some berserk stat from ESPN.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, again, it's hard to put those guys in because they literally can't play offense. But if you're looking at direct comparisons, I think there's an argument for Draymond Green. It just pains.
But he still falls short.
I would. It's just too close. I mean, I can see it. I can see why people would say he's a Hall of Famer because of Dennis Rodman and Ben Wallace. So I'm not going to argue that point. I just personally, I don't think any of them should be in because nobody pays a ticket to watch defense. But it wins. Defense wins, but is that a Hall of Fame if you're a good defender? There's a lot of good defenders out there.
That's what I was going to say. I can get someone to replace Draymond in a heartbeat. That's my problem.
Jordan Walsh.
No dominance.
Jordan Walsh is a good defender for the Celtics.
Yeah, chuck him in the Hall of Fame on Draymond's card too. I mean, my goodness. But so that's for all the haters last week. Draymond shouldn't be a Hall of Famer. He never should be. I hope he never is. Otherwise, we can practically just bring everybody in. Jordan Walsh, bring him in.
His attitude doesn't help either, to be honest. Draymond's attitude doesn't help. I mean,
he's a bum. He's unbearable to watch.
But Dennis Rodman was the same, right? I mean, that guy was a loose cannon all the time. So,
yeah.
And direct comparison.
Yeah. Unbearable to watch Draymond Green. But anyway, we're going to move forward. We're going to get into our buzzer beaters, and we're going to start with a little baseball. The ABS challenge system has been implemented, which is challenging balls and strikes. So the way it works is there are 2 challenges per game for a team. If you win your challenge, you keep it. If you lose the challenge, you don't get it anymore, right? And so the way it works, the batter, pitcher, or catcher can tap their helmet, and that initiates the challenge. Now, there are rumors that batters are told not to use them because obviously if you're up to plate, you're going to want it. They want catchers to use them the most because they think catchers have the best grasp of the balls and strikes. But when it comes down to it, it's been super popular. We've had a lot of overturned calls. It's actually funny. They posted a box on Instagram of all the overturned calls, and like all of them were around the ring. And then there was that one that was right down the middle. And I was like, what was going on there? But I'm going to give this one to you. Give us a few ABS stats. What you got for us?
All right. So I'm going to get a little technical with the viewers. I apologize.
Yeah.
But the ABS system does have an error rate. Like it has like where it can actually be wrong. And it's wrong by like a 0.6 of an inch. Like it has an error capability of being 0.6 of an inch wrong. Okay. Well, a quarter of the calls that we've seen have been within the 0.6 of the error.
That's crazy.
So in actuality, what you're looking at is there's possibilities that the umpire was right and the ABS was wrong. So you can make an argument there. It's a small percentage of the ones, but you could make an argument that, do we really need it? If that's where some of the calls are landing. All right. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you nailed it right on the head. Batters are 42% successful. Catchers are 64% successful.
Almost 20% more.
Almost over 20% more.
Yeah, over 20% more.
And so, I mean, if you're going to save your challenges, I mean, it would be smart for teams to get used to having their catchers do the challenge because it seems like they're going to be a lot more successful, and then you can carry your challenges longer into the game. So I think that's something. Here's the other fun fact I got for you. All right. If you challenge a 4-seam fastball, you're less likelihood to win that challenge than if you challenge a slider or a cutter. So it seems as if the umpires can struggle a little bit with the balls that are kind of sliding in and out of the zone, whereas a fastball, they're much more correct.
Right, because a little bit of the sliders and the curveballs is how it's received. Like we always talk in the catchers of how you receive the ball, right? Like if the catcher, I mean, they're phenomenal at it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But just a little bit further back, a little drop with it, right? That can throw the umpire off really easily.
Yeah, and so that's an interesting thing. So if I'm a major league coach, to be honest, I'm literally telling the guys if it was a fastball, you just got to accept it and move on, unless it's blatantly obvious, right? Now, you go back to the one that was in the middle of the plate.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was just more of a joke, but
no, I know. There's a story
section
behind. It's a story behind that. The Minnesota Twins guy challenged it, because it was bases loaded, 2 outs, and basically the game was on the line, and they had a challenge left. So it wasn't like he thought that the call was terrible. He was like, I might as well challenge this because this is either the game or it's not the game. Right.
Yeah.
So that's why you have kind of one in the middle. But most of them are pretty good. I mean, the fans
I
like
like
it.
it.
Yeah, fans like it. It's been well received because it doesn't take any time, really.
No, it's really easy.
Um, and
I think the
so,
MLB doing good.
yeah. And that begs the question, though. Unfortunately, I don't like to bring it up, but it begs the question: at what point is it just going to be electronic balls and strikes given to the umpire? Right? I mean, I don't
Yeah,
like that. I don't like that because I
umpire's
do
part of the
like
game.
umpires part of the game. So and if they do that, here's my thing: if they do that, if Major League decides to do that, they should tell no one except the players,
Yeah, that would be
right?
good.
So what you have then is you just have like a beep in the umpire, and the umpire's like strike
Yeah,
or ball, and
I
nobody
don't
would
know.
even know, but takes the umpire out of it a little bit, which
I
isn't
agree.
always fun, but
We play
some
it's a real sport. We need humans making these calls. I think it's more fun that way.
yeah. And I
Um,
mean, the blatant ones should be challenged, right? Same thing on the base
but
path,
they
same
are.
thing.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah, and I think it's just odd to see a guy get get the old right? You're strike three, you're
And then
out.
it's like
And
challenge.
then it's challenge. Oh, wait a
Well,
second, it's 2-2.
I think
It's
the
2-2.
best I think the best one is Tariq Skubal from the Tigers. He was on the mound and like pitchers aren't challenging at all. Like they
Yeah,
really
no.
aren't. And Skubal, 2 strikes on the guy, throws just this ridiculous slider. I mean, it must have moved 3 feet left to right.
Right.
And the catcher or the guy calls it a ball. And the catcher's like, Skubal goes like this, and the catcher's like, and he goes, challenge. And it literally clipped it by like the tiniest amount. Strike three. See ya. Scuba was fired up. His catcher was like, oh crap. But
Yeah,
all right, so MLB's doing good. I think they got this right. I think they should keep this system.
I
Now,
like it too.
okay. Now moving into golf. We're
Yeah.
gonna start with Tiger Woods. Unfortunately, unfortunate news out of him. He flips his car again. It was a two-car accident Saturday at 2 p.m. He was trying to pass a flatbed truck on a double yellow line. Minor injuries to both people, no hospitalizations, but Tiger proceeded to blow zeros on the breathalyzer, but refused to take a urine test and ended up being charged with a DUI. Went to the holding tank. I think they call it the drunk tank, even though he wasn't drunk. Um, more news came out today. They found a couple of pills in his pocket. He claims that he was texting, looking down at his phone, or switching the radio station, I think it was. And then news just dropped that he is going into rehab. So he won't be at TGL events. He won't be at the PGA Tour events. So he's headed to rehab to get better. What do you got for me? Tiger Woods flips another car.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad because, you hate to see iconic sports athletes struggle. And, I hope the news is true. I hope he's going to rehab because it's very clear. I mean, the guy has had so many surgeries and he has to be addicted to painkillers um, of some form. And, we're Packer fans, and I remember Brett Favre being addicted to painkillers.
I read that
And
book.
so, yeah, so I mean, it's awful, and I feel terrible for him. So I hope he's going to get help. In terms of the golf world, I think realistically, we've lived long enough without Tiger now that it's not going to impact um, with the way the PGA Tour operates and in the fans that we get. It's sad to see. It's something you don't
Yeah.
want to hear, and I mean you're glad he's okay, and hopefully he didn't hurt his back again or whatever it may be. But
Right.
it's sad. I hope he gets help because you know we still like to see him on TGL, even though he missed like a 3-footer the last time he was on
Yeah.
it. But we still like to see him in those things. I would love to see him on the senior PGA tour, driving a cart around so he doesn't have to
Yep.
walk because it's terrible watching him walk. So, um, I hope those things happen. But yeah, he needs help. He definitely needs help.
Yeah, he does. And Yeah, like you said, it's sad. It's unfortunate. Dave Portnoy didn't have much sympathy for him. For those of you who don't know his full story, I would encourage you to go watch the HBO documentary done on him. Some pretty crazy stuff, some really messed up things in his childhood and his whole life, really. So that will build a little sympathy for you, give a little grace. But yeah, it's sad news. Hopefully he gets better. Hopefully the rehab works. On the other side of the golf world, we had Gary Woodland win his first time in nearly 7 years at the 2026 Texas Children's Houston Open this past week. It was his first victory since his U.S. Open win in 2019. If you don't know the story of Gary Woodland, it was a super emotional win based on the fact that about a year and a half ago, he underwent surgery to remove a massive brain tumor. And following that, he had, tons of health struggles, but PTSD was a big one. And so he talked about that in over the week and some of the interviews leading up. But just a very emotional win for Gary Woodland, a very emotional win for the golf world, I would say. Everyone I've talked to has been thrilled. It's just an unbelievable story of perseverance and courage, really, to keep going. So credit to Gary Woodland, unbelievable story. You got anything to add?
The PGA Tour keeps winning.
Mm-hmm.
They keep having these great stories, these somewhat of a comeback. I think it's outstanding for golf. I mean, Gary Woodland in 2019, I mean, he was the cream of the crop, a young guy hitting the ball a long ways. Like, um, we thought he was going to be Scotty Scheffler, right? I mean, Gary Woodland he was the guy, that's who you talked about. COVID
Yeah,
happened, some other things happened. All of a sudden he didn't feel good. Then this diagnosis and then his surgery, so I think it's awesome. I hope he continues to play well, not just a
me
one-time
too.
thing, because, you know, I like his golf swing too, to be honest, but,
Yeah.
um, it's just very simple. And
Mm-hmm.
it always has been, and it always looks good. And every time he swings, you think it's perfect, but I hope it works. It's great for the PGA Tour, though.
Yep.
Another great win. So,
Now moving into Shanks and Stripes, we're gonna do a March Madness edition. And so our first stripe of the week, it's gotta be Yukon and Braylon Mullins. First of all, what a shot! I mean, unbelievable. 35 feet, gets the steal or the tip, the steal, kicks it to Caravan, who throws it back to him, which is just hilarious because he's like, I haven't made one all day. You take it. And then, so speaking on that, as a team, they were 5 for 23 from three, which is 22%, which is very low for their team in general. And Mullins specifically was 0 for 4 from three and 3 for 9 on the day from the field leading up into that shot. So he was cold. Everyone was really cold. It was a gutsy comeback to battle Duke, the number one overall team, come all the way back, and it felt like they let it slip out by missing free throws. Ball missed a free throw, and Demaray missed a free throw. And I thought it was over. I was like, those are going to kill him. And then sure enough, Caden Boozer gets it at half court, decides to try and throw it over a double team, gets tipped, and then the rest is history at this point. I mean, unbelievable shot, unbelievable win by UConn. And it really, you got to give Dan Hurley a nod. I mean, he's unbelievable. The guy wins. He really does. There's no other way to put it. He's intense. He's a psycho, but he wins. And so credit to him, credit to the program, and definitely to Mullins for that shot.
I mean, what a shot. It was funny because if you listen to the interview afterwards, he's like, I was trying to pass it to the person who made the last one.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh, it was an awesome interview.
because Caravan made the last one, and so it makes sense. Like, give it back to him, and then Caravan threw it to. He's like, "Wow,
It
I
was
have
so
to shoot
funny.
it." Um, you know, if you think sports psychology, sometimes it's the best thing that could happen, right? The unexpected. It's like
Mm-hmm.
now you just let all your practice take over. You don't really think about it. You're like, oh, I got to get this
Just
shot
let it
up
fly.
and just let it fly. But great shot. I mean, yeah, Dan Hurley's a great coach, and this can go with our Shank too. But you know, when you talk about Dan Hurley and you talk about a Tom Izzo, and Dan Hurley has talked about it in his interviews, like they're going to keep doing it the same way. They're going to try to find kids that stay for 4 years. And if you look at
Caravan.
UConn's roster, yeah, you look at UConn's roster and the kids that played the most. I mean, Mullins is a freshman, so that's good for him. All right, but a lot of the contributors to UConn are juniors and seniors,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Reed
They're
transferred in, but the
Yeah,
rest of
Reed
them.
transferred in, but the rest of them juniors and seniors. But even Reed, what? He's a senior, right? He has all the experience. It's not like, he's a freshman
Right.
out there, or a sophomore transfer. He's not that either. Versus if you look at the Duke roster, the main contributors are freshmen and sophomores.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like doesn't get enough attention in these moments. You know, the only way you come back from 19-point deficit is to have upperclassmen that have done it before. Like
Right.
you don't come back with freshmen and sophomores in that case. You just don't. I mean, that's just the history of college basketball says that you don't come back. So um, I like Dan Hurley's program. He's animated, him and Izzo, sometimes too animated for
I mean,
me,
he
but
he he like gave the head bump. The head bump's getting talked about.
yeah,
He's got
head
like
bump and his
half
like
a jacket off.
his
Yep.
jacket
And he
was like
walks
off the
over and he's
shoulder.
like right in the guy's face.
Yeah,
Both of them are like, it wasn't anything, but crazy
yeah.
video actually.
Right. And I
Um,
mean, that's awesome in the moment stuff. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying, like, in general, his animation. I mean, him and Izzo in the same game. I mean,
mm.
that was special. That was just. I think the coaches got more
Well,
airtime than the players, and
not
I
only
wonder.
that, how about when they played UCLA, Mick Cronin, there was like a minute left and both of them are screaming. It's like a 15
Yeah,
point game. UCLA's
yeah,
done, UConn's won, and Dan Hurley's at half court screaming one way and Cronin screaming the other. I'm like,
yeah,
that is
yeah,
classic. But moving into the shank of this
yeah.
game and of the week, it's got to be Duke. And I don't want to say I was right, but the ACC. The ACC has no teams left, no teams in the Final Four. They had one in the Sweet 16, which was Duke, lose in a just heartbreaking manner. So the ACC is done. So I want to throw that in there. But then you look at Duke, they choke in brutal fashion in back to back years. Because don't forget, they were up 6 with 35 seconds left and gave up a 9-0 run to Houston last year. And then UConn comes back from down 19, unbelievable shot, just abysmal turnover, like the whole thing. Um, so when you look at Duke, how are they going to turn this leaf? I think based on your previous answer, I know what you're going to say, but
Yeah.
how are they going to kind of turn this over? How are they going to stop choking in these big moments?
It's a direct lead into what I said before. I mean, you have freshmen and sophomores that are trying to compete at, an elite level, and it's great. Like it was so much fun to watch Cooper Flag last year, and it's a lot of fun, in my opinion, to watch Cameron Boozer. I know Noah
I
doesn't like to
can't
watch him,
stand
but
watching him either.
I think he's a great player. Um, you know, Caden Boozer made probably, like the middle
You got to
school
feel for
mistake.
him.
You
You got to
do,
feel
but
for him.
that's a middle school mistake. Like you don't throw over a double team. And people say, well, if he makes the pass, the game's over. Yeah, but he didn't.
He didn't,
So
and
he
they're at
tried to
home.
throw he tried to throw over a double team, which is like, again, middle school basketball was so frustrating that somebody would try that. Just amazing. At that point, like if he just dribbles a few more seconds, the game's over anyway. So I
Or hold
mean,
it.
or hold it and get
There were
fouled.
10
And
seconds. There were 10 seconds.
when he had the ball,
10.6 or something.
it was less than 5.
No, but when the play started,
Yeah,
10.6. So they didn't even really have to get it over half court. They would have fouled him if he would have just stood there like
right.
this.
Yeah.
So,
So, anyways, but it comes down to, again, it's freshmen. I know everybody. Well, if you haven't, you got to watch the Fab Five, right? Documentary on the Fab Five.
talk about a
I mean,
meltdown.
those guys were the best 5 freshmen that you could put on the floor during that time period. They were unbelievable, and they couldn't win a championship.
Hmm.
Now they went up against arguably one of the best college basketball teams in the history of college basketball with that Duke team. But
Yep.
the North Carolina game, I mean, they should have won that game, but freshmen do freshman things, and it's
Call
really
timeout.
hard. Yeah, it's really
No
hard to win.
timeouts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's I give Duke credit. They've gone a long ways, a couple years in a row with a new coach and all new
Yeah.
players all the time. I think John Shire is elite. I think
He's
he's
phenomenal.
an outstanding
Phenomenal.
coach. And then, back to the ACC, they were done a long time ago. Duke is the outlier, so
I told you the ACC stinks.
yeah,
They're hoping to
I
get
mean,
Syracuse back with this new hire, but they just
yeah,
not good. They're practically a mid-major conference at this point.
I know, but here's the thing, if you hate the power rankings, right? The NCAA power rankings, if you hate those and you don't think that, this and that, I mean, Duke, Michigan, Arizona, Houston, Florida, Illinois, Iowa State, Purdue, Gonzaga, UConn, Tennessee, Michigan State, then Louisville is the next ACC team.
Yeah.
Like the power
We knew it
rankings
all
are telling
along.
it. Yeah, our power rankings are telling us everything we need to know. If Michigan State is above the second ACC team, that just tells you that the ACC conference is viewed as a smaller
A
conference.
mid-major. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like a mid-major.
It's just because, I mean, and the fact that I just found it amazing that Illinois was in the top 6 and they didn't even finish in second or third of the Big Ten, but their
Yeah.
power ranking,
Well,
showed where they were, so
mhm.
I think we knew it all along. It's just,
someone had to say it.
somebody had to say it. Some people
Well,
like the ACC. So
yeah, and that moves us into our next stripe of the week, which is the Big Ten. You get 4 teams in the Elite Eight. You get 2 teams in the Final Four. You had 6 in the Sweet 16. And one of those Elite Eight matchups, or one of those Sweet 16 matchups, they had to play each other. Same with the Elite Eight matchups, with Nebraska and Iowa, and then Illinois and Iowa. But I mean, when you look at the Big Ten Conference, when you look at basketball, when you look at football, when you look at hockey, the Big Ten Conference, I think, is the best conference in the nation for athletics. I think it's ringing true and all when you see all these things coming together. I mean, you look at football, they've won 3 national championships in a row with 3 different teams. Right? And the only thing I think holding them back at this point is that March Madness curse where they haven't won in 20 whatever years, right? So I
it's a
think
problem. It's a problem.
I know, but if they get it done this year, I think you can write it in the history books. They are and will be the best conference moving forward for athletics.
It's true, that you can look at different sports though. I'll never say that Big Ten baseball is anywhere close to those conferences. Soccer, you got no shot. So I know that we like basketball and football.
Well, yeah. I mean, what other sports are there? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So, I like the argument, but Big Ten does have to get a win here in basketball. And I'm not saying that it's even this year. I'm just saying the Big Ten needs a March Madness victory. Well, it doesn't have to be.
You got 2 teams.
I know you got 2 teams, but I like all the teams. Like all the teams have people coming back. All the teams can do it again next year. But, you're in a good position now, but you play, 2 very good teams. I mean, Arizona is an incredible team and UConn are just a bunch of fighters. And, so you got to go through some really difficult games right now. But again, at some point you got to get it done. They got it done in football. It's time to get it done in basketball.
Yeah, and I honestly think they will. So that's my take on that. We'll get into that more later. But Big Ten elite, and then the SEC. I'm about at it with the SEC talk. People, let's be honest. The SEC is a football conference, and the whole Auburn should have got in because they were 500 in the SEC is the most ridiculous comment ever. Whoever says that is just blasphemous. They're dumb. in the most kind way possible. Dumb. The SEC is average, right? Everybody's talking about the ACC, the Big Ten, and then you got your Big East team with UConn that came out as like some people would expect, right? And the Big
Big
East
12.
is good, or Big 12. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Right. Arizona, Iowa State, those teams were good.
Houston.
But nobody's talking about the SEC. They had the most bids into the tournament, or the most teams with 10 teams, and they have nobody left. They had one left in the Elite Eight, just like the ACC. And I can promise you that, Duke is better than Tennessee. So when we look at the SEC, I just think the whole idea of them being anything but a football conference is blasphemous. They were average across the board. Alabama can't keep their team together.
But you're forgetting one important detail.
What's that?
Who's the defending champion in basketball?
Yeah, big whoop. They lost to Iowa in the round of 32.
Yeah, but the point is like the SEC, they took advantage of the fact that the defending national champion was in their conference. When you have that, you probably get a little bit more, backing from the powers that be, so to speak, because you have the defending national champion. And this is what I'm saying. The Big Ten has to get it done. Like they can't make the argument every year that they're the best conference if they can't get a national championship. I just, it's great. They got 2 in the Final Four and they had, 4 out of 8. And I get all that. That means you're deep. But does that make you have an elite team, or does it just make your conference deep? We don't want to be a deep conference anymore. You want to be an elite conference, which means you got to win the national championship. That's where I separate.
Big Ten,
and that's what I'm hoping happens, because they have to prove it. I mean, again, the power rankings with the SEC, I mean, you can look at them again, but it went Florida and then Tennessee in between UConn and Michigan State. That's the next one, right?
Yeah. I mean,
so it's not like, again, we thought they were the best conference. They were just all around that 20 to 25 range.
I got a great comparison. Okay. The ACC, I'm just going to keep digging on the ACC. The ACC is like the NFC East in football. They have one good team, the Eagles and Duke, and then the rest of it is just abysmal, right? And the laughing stock of the league. Then you look at the SEC, and
they're the AFC East.
No. They're the AFC North. Everyone's just like 9-8. A couple teams fall below 500 early and then battle back to 500, and they're all really solid. And when you play them at home, they're real tough games, right? That's the SEC. When you play them at home, they're tough games. Outside of that, man. So I think they got a little bit.
The Big Ten then is the NFC North, right?
Oh yeah, just dominant.
Yeah, just dominant, right? The Lions, the Packers,
and got to get it done. Got to win.
Yeah, you got to win.
So
it's the problem with the NFC North too, FYI.
Yeah, I'm aware. But yeah, SEC is like the AFC North. I mean, just
beat each other up. I love it.
We fight hard, and half the time our players can't even stay eligible. Yeah, let's go. Let's go play some tough football in the mud.
I really preferred trying to get that G League player on my college team. That's my favorite. That's my favorite of all time.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean,
Alabama officially is recruiting professional basketball players.
Yeah. Professional basketball players and drug dealers. Come to Alabama.
I wasn't going to go there.
You can get drugs easily, and you can regress in your progression. No, I'm kidding.
Jenks is going to be calling you for sure.
Yeah. Anyway. Nothing good has come out of Alabama since Nick Saban left. Same thing with the Ty Simpson talk. This is just bonus feature for the listeners. The whole Ty Simpson thing is just ridiculous. The guy stinks.
Dan Orlowski. That's all that matters.
I love Dan, and I really do. But Ty Simpson is like Will Howard. Terrible. Terrible.
I,
He's terrible.
time will tell. I mean, I do think that there's always some behind the scenes that we're not aware of. There's behind the scenes of a team saying, "Hey, can you give them a little love because we're going to take them early." Um, so it'll be interesting. I'm so interested to see where Ty Simpson falls in the draft. If he falls or if he's like taken within the top 8 picks, I think it's just going to
You
be
know
one of
who will
those.
take him? The
The Jets.
Jets. Yep. The Jets will take him, and they'll be dog crap for the next 5 years again, and then they'll have a chance to draft another quarterback, and they'll find the most average college quarterback they can, hype him up, and then he'll be terrible. It will
It'll
literally
be
be the Jets.
Noah will be happy because he's a
Yeah.
Patriots guy,
AFC
So
East.
yeah,
It will be the Jets. I know it. They brought in Geno Smith. They're going to mentor him. Yeah. Hey, I got a good idea. Let's bring in Geno Smith to mentor a below average
yeah.
college
And
football player.
if you don't think the Jets are trying to grease the wheel there and say, "Hey, can you give them a little love because we're going to take them?" That's just
That's just,
my opinion.
oh, I mean, Ty Simpson threw screen passes and out routes. I think I could have played Ty Simpson's role this year at Alabama.
Hey,
Hand it off.
Dan says he can make every throw in the NFL.
Yeah.
So there you
Good
go.
luck. We'll find out when his Jets wide receivers are running post routes. But anyway, we're moving forward. We're going to we need a mulligan, or maybe we don't. I'm going to argue that we don't need a mulligan.
Oh, here we go.
I said at the beginning of the tournament that Braden Smith would fall away in the biggest moment, that he would fade in the biggest moment. Purdue goes down. Braden Smith goes 4 for 15 with 3 turnovers, right? Which, not ideal, right? They were up 7 at half. Okay, so up 7. Braden Smith at this point was, I believe he was 3 for 4 from the field, playing very well. Second half comes around. Braden Smith, 1 for 11 with 2 points. They get absolutely steamrolled in the second half by Arizona. I would make the argument he faded when they needed him most in the second half against one of the top dogs. I don't want to say I was right. I think I was right. What do you think?
Where did Purdue finish in the Big Ten?
They won the tournament in the postseason.
They won the tournament, but regular season, where did they finish?
I believe it was 3rd.
Nope.
2nd.
Nope.
Where?
They finished 6th.
Oof.
So when you talk about Braden Smith in the Purdue Boilermakers, they finished 6th in the Big Ten Conference and made it to the Elite 8. Now you can make that argument and say
they were
that
preseason number 1.
Yeah, but we all knew they weren't the best team in the country. I mean, that was just whatever. We all knew that. There's no chance they were the best team in the country. And so if you think about it, like Purdue winning the Big Ten tournament and then going to the Elite 8, in my opinion, overachieved. And that had to do with Braden Smith. He played awesome in the Big Ten tournament, right? He played great until the second half of the Arizona game. And to be honest with you, I mean, Arizona just played bully ball and they didn't call anything. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Arizona like just hold and shove and push. And I mean, I thought a full fight was going to break out in that game because it was just so terrible, physical, and they didn't call anything. That doesn't suit Braden Smith. I mean, he's what, 5 foot something, 100 and something, like
he's like Rudy. Kyler Murray out there,
right? So I mean, I just don't think that was a Braden Smith problem. I think Purdue is just completely outmatched. That was just a bad matchup, right? Exasperated by the fact that the refs just let Arizona get away with everything in the second half. So, I don't blame Braden Smith. I thought he had a great year for who he is. I mean, he is the all-time NCAA career leader in assists. You can take it for what it is, but that's an impressive stat.
Listen,
a
I
guy
don't
who's
disagree with that.
he's like, I mean, he's 5'9", 5'10".
But
He's
I
the
told you what was
150
going to
pound.
happen. In the
I know,
biggest
but
moment, when they needed him most to score, he was going to go 1 for 11 and fade out. And that's exactly what he did.
yeah, but I just don't blame him for that. Like he's not their scorer. He's not the guy that
I don't
scores.
disagree with that. I'm not disagreeing with that fact. I'm just saying if you're
Right.
going to be the best player, if you're going to be the AP preseason #1 player in the country, right? And it comes
Again, like,
second half. Listen, I don't care. I don't
but
care.
preseason rankings are for like
That's what everybody
giggles.
tells me when
It's
I
like
say Braden Smith.
it's for giggles. Like everybody knew he was not the best player in the country. It's just that he was going to be the all-time career assist leader, so they're like, got to hype him up before he breaks the record. So
I don't know. He
I
faded.
can't blame Braden Smith. They overachieved. They finished 6th in the Big Ten, and we're in the Elite 8 of the entire country. So I
Or
think
maybe
they
they
overachieved.
underachieved. Maybe they underachieved during the regular season. Just to throw that in there for you. Maybe you're looking at it the
I mean,
wrong way.
have you watched them play? Like,
Yeah.
do they have any business going to the Elite 8? Realistically, Kaufman Wren, like, I mean,
Dad.
he's okay. Like the big guy, who's the big guy? Like, I mean,
Clough.
he's Clough.
He's a gumper.
I mean,
He's a gumper. I'll give you that.
He can't move right or left. Then
Boyer's
they
a
have
sharpshooter.
yeah. Then they have Malloy who can get hot, but he's not like, hey, give him the ball and he can score. You got to run him off like 5 screens and hope he's open. Right. And then the guys off the bench are just role players, Draymond Green like, play a little defense, get a couple rebounds. I think they overachieved. I got to be honest. I think he's a good coach and they overachieved.
I don't know.
So
He is a good coach. I'll give him that. I just think it would have been nice to see Mr. Braden Smith, Mr. All-American, Mr. #1 show up. But anyway, I'm going to stick with my take.
I know. I didn't want to see Kaufman Wren score like 30 some points against Michigan again because I'm just tired of that.
I'm totally fine with them losing. I can't stand Purdue. I just wanted to point out that maybe Braden Smith let us down in that second half. Yeah. But moving forward, we got moving day. It's right. Depends on the perspective in which you're looking at it. Moving day, you got to make your picks. Final 4. I'm going to let you start. That way I can correct you. But what you got?
So my whole goal of this entire March Madness is to not jinx Michigan. So I'm taking Arizona. All right. I'm taking Arizona over Michigan. And I'm taking UConn over Illinois. No Big Ten team will make to the championship. And then Arizona's going to win. So that's what I'm going with. There you go. I was quick. Yeah, I was quick and easy. I told you my reasons why. Just got to be. I'll let Dave Portnoy hype Michigan up, and then I'll be the opposite. I'll like lower the jinx down.
Lower the standards.
Lower the standards and.
Well, I'll hype them up. I got Michigan coming out and beating Arizona. I think it's going to be a close game down to the wire. But I think at the end of the day, I think Yaxel's the best player when he wants to be in this tournament left. And I think he was the best player heading into the tournament. I think he is dominant in all aspects of the game. He is selfless when it comes to sharing the ball. And that's why I think some of his stats are a little, I mean, they're great, but not as high as they could be. You know, he could take 20, 25 shots a game if he wanted and average.
He's a team guy. He's a team guy.
100%. So I got Yaxel at the helm.
The one thing I love about Yaxel, I just want to throw it in. I love that your best player plays the defense that he plays. Just throwing that in.
Yeah, awesome. Listen, you can't hype up Michigan. You already said you're lowering them, so stay out. Stay out while I give my picks. All right. Where was I? No, just kidding. So Yaxel's the dog. He's at the helm. Cadeau started to play much better in this. He had a little stint where he was meh, but he's playing better. McKinney, dog. Roddy Gale, terrible, but somehow in March he's pretty decent. We can just sit Burnett the rest of the year. I'm fine with that. I don't need to see him shoot or do anything dumb anymore. But if Mara and Merez Johnson stay out of foul trouble against Arizona, they will win that game because they can guard down low. They can, beat and batter just like Arizona did to Purdue. They can score at Arizona's clip. And I think when you look at Arizona in some of their games, they have like these you can look at these like time blocks where they like for some reason fall asleep. And like in the Purdue game, it's what got them the deficit, right? And then they come out in the second half and just kill them, right? And no one talks about it. But I think they have these sections in the game where they're going to go cold, and I think Michigan's actually going to be able to exploit those just because of their offensive efficiency and the way they shoot the three and the way they push the ball. And so I think Michigan, you can look for them to get out to, I want to say it, a double digit lead at some point in this game.
Oh, boy.
They're going to get out to a double digit lead at some point in this game. It will come back a little bit, right? It's going to be a battle down the stretch. But I say Michigan wins by about 8, 7, somewhere in there. But yeah,
the way they win by 10 is if the referees are calling fouls. If they let Arizona play like they did against Purdue, it's just going to be a brutal basketball game. It's going to be ugly, and it basically comes down to who can make an outside shot. And I don't like that. I don't like that basketball. But the way they ref that Purdue Arizona game was so bad. I mean,
we can
if
tell
that's
you
the
couldn't
case,
stand those officials.
yeah. I mean, if that's the way they're going to let him play, I mean, when you can two-hand shove, or the Arizona guy was in the lane for like 10 seconds every time down the floor, and then would push you in the back to get the rebound. And everybody's like, oh, he's such a great offensive rebounder. I'm like, well, who wouldn't be if you can just sit under the basket the whole time and then shove somebody? So, I mean, that's all it comes down to. So,
hey, can I make it through my picks without being
no,
interrupted? I mean, I
no,
haven't
you
even
can't.
made it through game one. I've been interrupted twice. Goodness. I'm going to have to start muting you. Anyway, back to my picks. Then you look at UConn, Illinois. I've liked UConn the whole time. I had them coming out of that region. I think they're spread out across the board, but Illinois, man, I've said it the whole way. Those Ichevich, Uchevic, Tavakovic, whatever their names are, they can ball. And they are some hoopers. And then with Wagler at the helm, they are a very scary team. Now, look in that game, I look for two things. The first is that I look for UConn to have a great game shooting. I think coming off a bad game, a week's worth of practice, plus the momentum you kind of build from such a shot in a moment like that, I look for them to have a good shooting game. And on the opposite side of the coin, I think the key to victory for Illinois is Wagler. Is he going to make shots? Is he going to distribute well? Right? Is he really going to run that point guard position well and not be in foul trouble? Because I look at UConn to really try and get him in foul trouble as that type of leader. Um, so I think that'll be interesting. I think Wagler's a key player, even with all the Yachovic, Ichevich itches. But look, he's the key player in this game for Illinois. And then UConn, it can be anybody, but look for them to have a good shooting game. So I'm taking UConn. Um, that one is a coin flip, truly. I think that game is going to be an awesome game. But I'll take UConn. And then Michigan, UConn in the Natty. I'm riding with the boys. The boys in blue. I think they're gonna break the curse of the Big Ten. They're gonna be the dogs. Dusty May will become a Michigan legend. Yaxel Lenenborg will become a Michigan legend. And then you're gonna look at guys like Cheddar and Roddy Gale and Burnett, and you're gonna be like, man, those boys stuck around. They got the Natty. I think it's gonna be an awesome story. I think it's gonna be a ton of fun to watch. So yeah, that's what I got going. I think it's gonna be a good little coaching matchup though. Dusty May and Dan Hurley in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. The UConn Illinois game, I don't know if Illinois can score enough points against UConn. You
That's a
know,
crazy take.
I just don't know if they
They
can. I
can't.
mean,
They've scored
the
like
first
100 points.
I know, but the first time they played, it was what, 71-60 or something like that. Like they didn't score many points. They already played this year. Um, and it's a fact that UConn has guys that can guard Wagler, and they can rotate him in.
Right. That's
And
what I was
so
saying. Key player.
Yeah, and so I mean, you can drive him crazy. I think Illinois, the big thing they have going for him now that they probably didn't early in the year is Stojakovic. I mean, that guy can just he can score.
He's a hooper.
I mean, his dad was unbelievable. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me. But if he can score, it can offset some of the issues that I think Illinois is going to have trying to score against UConn. But I don't
It was
necessarily know if UConn's going to score a ton of points either. I think it's going to be another low-scoring UConn game. It just is.
I got a few stats on the spot for you here.
All
So
right.
Illinois lost early in the year 61-74. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
I'll
So I was
give you a
close.
couple key statistics.
Yeah.
Stojakovic, 1 for 7 from the field, 3 points. Wagler, 1 for 3, only put up 3 shots. He only played 14 minutes. I think this is the game he got hurt or something happened because he was battling injuries this year. So now, sure, they limited him, but he also got in foul trouble in this game somehow. I mean, he hardly played. He had 3 fouls. That's brutal, like I said. So I really think this is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a different matchup in the sense of, you know, Wagler's going to be full go, and he's going to play almost all 40 minutes. And then Stojakovic is obviously on a little bit of a heater right now, so that's going to be interesting. And then UConn, like I said, 36% from three in that game. They were 10 for 28 compared to Illinois' 6 for 29, which is 20%. So I think
Yeah.
those are a couple key statistics to look at, a couple key players to look up in that matchup.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Going to be a
that
drag
about
out.
does it. Yeah, it's going to be a knockdown drag out. But no go back on the go because, again, we're doing nothing. The only thing I'll throw out there is Matt LaFleur responded to his report card that pretty much he's a dink to the players, is practically what the report card said. He doesn't respect them or something. I don't know. And he practically said that some guys didn't know their role and were frustrated with that, which I don't know. First of all, let's just get rid of the whole report card garbage. Like,
Yeah.
give me a break with that. Second of all, I don't know. It just worries me. Like Matt LaFleur, just shut your mouth. Just shut your mouth. Go to the whatever they're at, the coach's annual meeting or whatever. Take the dumb picture and shut your mouth. We don't need any more media around the Green Bay Packers. So I'm about I just don't know what he's doing, what he's saying. And then we got, Ed Policy getting out there, our new president. He's like, I don't even it was baffling to me that people even considered firing Matt LaFleur and I had players support him and whatever. It's like, dude, stop talking about it. Let's move on. We need to get players to win games. Like, can we talk about players to win games? Stop talking about Matt LaFleur. He can't win games if you have no players that are good. So that's about where I'm at with the Packers. So a little frustrated with them on that front. And then Calvin Golf starts this weekend. Spring season opens up. I'm sure it will be a monsoon. We played in one today. We had the wind flying the rain sideways. Like I could see, usually rain pellets are like this. I could see them like this. That's how hard the wind was blowing. We had a pin that was practically snapped. But we were out there. We were grinding. Probably the only people on this side of the universe playing. But we were out there just whacking away. I had 130 today, and I was trying to roll a 3-iron up because that was during the monsoon hours. That was right before the eye of the storm hit us.
You mean skipping it on the puddles?
Yeah, practically. No, I shanked it, so that didn't help. But yeah, so good luck to the Calvin Golf boys this weekend. Spring season starts. It's going to be a good one. And that's all I got. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you coming on. You always have insightful outside of the interruptions, but we're going to work on that moving forward if I have you back. But no, seriously, thanks again. It was fun.
All right.
The viewers, I'm sure, will be laughing. So,
I hope so.
And to the viewers, like, subscribe, comment. Appreciate you guys watching.